Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, the series in which we're going over stuff already reviewed in the past, and I'm giving a little more of the thoughts and feels and afterthoughts on it. You guys are giving your experiences and opinions on these things, since it's not cutting edge, brand new, just came out stuff like we get on the main channel. This also gives us a chance to remember the variety of stuff that's out there, and it doesn't always have to be the latest thing that just came out last month. Today we're talking about the Smith & Wesson M&P Compact 2.0. And when this came out, I remember there was a lot of fanfare. People were super excited. We got a suggestion of front slide serrations. We have a loaded chamber indicator. We got ambi slide release, which was kind of somehow cutting edge at the time. Funny that that didn't become a thing for decades of handguns and then suddenly was. And then a new texture, and this texture for me was one of the biting points of the gun. Super aggressive. Now, that's not necessarily a big concern, since you can always knock that down with some sandpaper, or you can put some rubberized grips on it or something like that. But as a compact, and I get it, the M&P military and police line, it's meant to be duty oriented. At least that was the marketing thing of it. But in this size frame, a lot of people looked at it for carry, and the problem is that texture would shred you and your clothing. So you need to knock down both sides, which, guess what? That's not where most grip happens anyways. Controlling the firearm is along the back strap and the front strap. That can be aggressive. That will help you hold onto the gun while shooting, and it won't chafe you or your clothing while you're carrying it. The trigger on this, I had forgotten. It's been ages since I fired this thing. A lot shorter and lighter than I remembered. Very light take up to a wall and break. Moderate reset, but a light trigger. Surprisingly light, lighter than I would have thought for a duty-oriented gun. Does that make it unsafe for carry? No, of course not. You just got to have some training and some practice with it. I carry guns with much lighter triggers than this sometimes, but I make sure I have lots of trigger time with them first, and just keep your wits about your trigger discipline. This has the infamous hinged trigger on it that a lot of people like to complain about. I never felt any problems with it. How effective it is as a safety, I don't know, because if something hits in the middle, I guess in the middle, yeah, it still has to snag on the bottom to actually defeat the safety on there. Not a bad pistol at all. Not one I'd want to spend a lot of time on the range with, however, in stock configuration, just because my white collar computer hands get a little shredded from this thing. But I think it's a decent gun. The popularity, it was big fanfare when it came out, and then it kind of fizzled and calmed down for a while, and we really haven't heard much in a while, which is interesting. Now, I know Smith & Wesson is in the process of moving their facilities, which is pretty funny, because a couple years prior I talked to them and asked them about being where they were, and they're like, hey, why are you still in that state that doesn't, where most of your products are illegal? And they said, oh, we've been here forever. So then I asked, well, what have you done to help try to preserve the human rights in the state where your employees work? And that, of course, ruffled some feathers and ended the conversation. But I was shocked to see in this last year's industry report that between 2023 and 2022, Smith & Wesson made 1 million less handguns than they had the year prior. That's significant. Now, granted, some of that's from moving, but it also makes me wonder, is Smith & Wesson falling out of favor? There could be opinions about the whole corporate thing after, they were a part of that big conglomerate for a while, and then they got separated from the conglomerate and back and forth. I think most of us don't care. We just look at the gun. I think this is a quality gun. I have not had any major issues with it, but then again, I haven't shot it much because I don't want to knock down the grip texture. As you guys can see, I've got quite a lot of firearms after 9 years of reviewing all these things, and most of these are here as reference pieces. This is a library for me, so that I can grab this era correct, completely unmodified M&P 2.0, and remember that that grip texture is so aggressive, because otherwise I'd forget. So most of the things that are reviewed on the channel, I don't modify at all, because they are a time capsule, they're a reference piece, and they're a comparative piece stock out of the box, which, this might surprise some people, that's how the guns come when you buy them. They come stock. So I try to review things and show things that would be as you would experience. But tell us what you think about the M&P 2.0. I know Tia got a Shield 2.0 and immediately had to rubberize the body facing side of the grip so that texture wouldn't shred her. And then she never really liked her Shield that much. The trigger was a bit of an unpredictable break on hers. I experienced it myself. We've had other Shields come in that had the same thing. It was just, if you're just pulling through, just yanking through, you'd never notice it. But a fine disciplined trigger finger, trying to do precise shots, trying to time those shots. Granted, that's not what a Shield is for, but that's when you start to really feel the mechanism, and that's what we felt with her Shield. This thing, yeah, sometimes it's a little quicker, sometimes a little slower, but it's not bad. I think it's a pretty good gun, and I'm willing to bet you can find these things for cheap now that they've been out for a while, and they're not optics ready, because this is before optics became a craze thing. So what your thoughts are, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.